Welcome back to Inverted World. This is what's going to happen. We're taking Venezuela. We're taking Iran. We're taking Greenland. We're taking Cuba. And then Trump is going to use Space Force to take Mars. The only problem is we don't know if Mars is real. Is Mars real? Do you believe in Mars? If it is real, have we been there? We have a story today about what appears to be a pyramid, a three-sided pyramid on Mars. This picture has been out for some years now of this alleged pyramid on Mars, but I think they're going to try to take Mars next. I think we're going to try to go to Mars. We're going to send Elon up there, and he can finally return home to his rightful kingdom and govern from there. Before we get into Mars, everybody, I have an update from yesterday. We talked about a little bit of sky terrorism. You know, we discussed geoengineering and chemtrails, and I saw this right before clicking record. Urgent health warning to thousands over lung-penetrating toxins filling the air. Then it says, stay indoors. This is from the Daily Mail. I wonder where they're coming from. I haven't read this yet, but I don't need to. I know where they're coming from. We know where they're all coming from. Where are these poisons coming from? They're coming from the sky terrorists. All right. Health warnings have been issued across parts of the U.S. on Thursday, with officials urging residents in affected areas to stay indoors if possible. Remember, we've discussed the idea of climate lockdowns amongst the climate alarmist leftist death cult. You know, with all their issues of worrying about the climate killing us, I think they've been manufacturing a lot of climate change. I do believe in a form of climate change, but that is in the form of, like, let's say, the face of Big Cloud, my friend, the Mullet Man, who is geoengineering up there. Well, I guess he'll tell you he's not geoengineering. He believes there is geoengineering, but he'll say what he's doing is just cloud seeding to help the farmers get rain. But that is a lie, Augustus. We know in the future your fake rain will be produced for the data centers that will have invaded and taken over all of the farmland. In a future where your friends will have taken over all farms. You know, I remember you telling me you don't think Zuckerberg's that bad of a guy. And here I am watching Facebook or Meta shut down their metaverse, Horizon Worlds. And I'm just hoping we can find a way to trap Zuckerberg inside the metaverse before they shut it down for good. I don't think Zuckerberg is a good person. I think he's a liar. I think he's a con man and also a product of DARPA. But we know they're throwing stuff in the sky. We went through it yesterday, gone through it ad infinitum on this show. Federal data shows pockets of unhealthy air quality emerging in Oregon, Arizona, and Georgia, alongside widespread moderate pollution across much of the country. Maybe they want you inside to stop looking out at the sky, because we are also seeing more and more footage of alleged meteors streaking across the sky. Is it AI? So much of it is like, is this even real? Is this just part of the narrative machine? They want you to believe this is part of the UFO disclosure that is imminent. It's happening, and we've got White House officials using alien face emojis. That should make you take it seriously. Goodness gracious, people. Not only do we have to wait until the Roswell anniversary to hear the president announce that there might be alien life, we also get alien emojis because we are serious about this. It's not just life-changing, and they're gonna shift the way we view human history and life beyond. We are going to reveal it through a series of emojis. Okay, it's going to be the greatest thing ever, and you will believe it. But are they locking you down so you don't look at the sky anymore? Not only because they've weaponized the sky against all of us, but also because maybe they're flying in some blue beam things for footage. But also, I saw a theory last night. People are saying, what if it's rockets? What if it's not even meteors? What if it's rockets and we're like taking them out somehow? Look, I don't know. There's other videos out there that look like they could be planes. Other people are debating they're meteors. But climate lockdowns are a real possibility. Put the meteors aside, whatever's going on with that story. There's a large group of people who would be very happy to have you locked inside again, this time for climate. And they'll say, if you go outside, you'll die. Like we're on some alien planet, and if we don't have the right helmet on, you're going to explode. That's coming. And if they start doing the alien thing, it really does become a headline, which this is 2026. Anything's possible. We're going to get Atlantis any day now. We're going to get Jimmy Hoffa's body. We're going to get Amelia Earhart. We're getting all these things any day now. The year is young. This year is young, and a lot has happened. This year, we're in March already, but it's already like we've already felt like we've experienced 24 months worth of news, maybe more. Anyway, if you're in Oregon, Arizona, or Georgia, I guess you got to stay inside now, or they'll shoot you. Air quality maps show elevated levels of PM 2.5, which is microscopic particles small enough to penetrate deep into the lungs, creating hazardous conditions, particularly for people with respiratory conditions such as asthma. It kind of sounds okay. We're talking about the possibility of climate lockdowns. What does that remind you of? Comorbidities, everyone's favorite word from the original lockdown days. And then they're going to try to, this is what could happen. People die, and then doctors start saying it was because of the poor air quality, which is possible because I do believe they're poisoning us. But this kind of thing this kind of story is born out of the idea of climate alarmism, but not the good kind, not the kind that wants to put the end to chemtrails. I'll be surprised if they go to chemtrails, even though this is the same publication. What I imagine, I'm just going to say, make a guess here, is that they're going to put it on like man-made, but false man-made climate change. And that's why we're getting this. Look, we're also not great to Earth. That's obvious. We don't treat this place very well, and it's unfortunate. But I don't think, the people who are saying we have 12 years to live, 20 years ago, they've been saying it every few decades, that they're right about anything. Sorry, man, bear, pig. Although major metro areas like Phoenix remain mostly in the moderate range, localized surges are pushing some neighborhoods into unhealthy territory. In the southeast, we got a caller. We will go to you soon, and then we'll get to some Mars. In the southeast, particularly around Atlanta, pollution is being driven primarily by ozone, which forms when emissions from vehicles, power plants, and industry react in sunlight as temperatures rise. I don't see anywhere in here that says you need to fear the geoengineering chemtrails and you need to arrest Augustus. I hope you're listening, Augustus. Across parts of Kansas, Missouri, and Oklahoma, smoke from seasonal agricultural and prescribed burns has created another cluster of hotspots. These fires are common in the spring and are used to manage land, but the resulting smoke can travel long distances and linger, especially under calm weather conditions. Officials stressed that the situation is not a nationwide emergency, but rather a series of localized pollution events tied to seasonal conditions. I will also remind you of what happened after East Palestine, the train wreck, the inversion of the atmosphere, the plume of smoke. It looked like an atomic bomb went off. 3 weeks later, here in West Virginia and Pennsylvania and Virginia and Maryland, people noticed a weird chemical dusting all across the land. I went outside and saw it. And before it was making the news in that morning, but I didn't even see the news yet. I just went outside and saw that my car was dusted. There was this weird white dust, and I was outside right as the sun was coming up. And I swear to you, as the sunlight hit that dust, it just kind of burned away. But it didn't melt. It wasn't like, oh, you're watching things melt here. Not like it was cold. It was a weird chemical dust. It was so strange. And then the news later that day that I saw was saying it was actually sand from the southwest that traveled to West Virginia. It somehow went over all the other states and landed in just these 4 states over here. And that's what it is. And then a year goes by. Then there's maybe 2 years, actually. And it might have been a year. And new articles suggested that perhaps that was the result of East Palestine and the moving from the plume of smoke from the shape charges that blew up all those chemicals. You don't say. The poor air quality comes as a historic heat wave is sweeping over the southwest, triggering alerts for millions to stay indoors until 8 p.m. This heat wave, to tie this to another story we've been discussing, is hindering the search for the missing General McCasland. It might be 3 weeks now. I believe I was wrong last week. I said it was a week. I think it was 2 weeks at that point. We covered it the day it broke, a week before. He's been missing for quite a while. No one's even talking about Nancy Guthrie anymore. Now we're talking about General McCasland. Very strange. And there are people who are talking about another lady who worked in the same department as him some time ago, who's been missing since, I think, the end of last year. And you remember what I've been saying about these other murders of scientists. They all kind of are working on sort of similar technologies. What's going on? What on earth is going on? So I saw that, wanted to update you. Let's get a caller in here, shall we? Thank you guys so much for tuning in. And before we get to this caller, I wanted to shout out, where is this? Kodiak82. Thank you so much for the Rumble rant last night. Shout out to everyone at Rumble. Shout out to everyone at YouTube. You guys are the best. I can't say enough. I have the best audience because you guys are hilarious. I love it. And Kodiak said, for the baby or the AI interface behind your eyeballs, your choice. Keep questioning the BS, brother. Well, I really appreciate that. Thank you so much. And shout out to everyone who's tuning in. Appreciate y'all. Let's bring in Corey. Shall we? Join me. Get my Zoom machine here. That's right. It's DIY, guys. This is DIY. I like it. I'm enjoying it. It's reminding me of my old school four-track Tascam days. Just making it happen. Let's see here. Corey, let me know when you can hear me.
I can hear you just fine.
Sick. What's going on, man?
Just living the best of lives. It's a sunny, strangely hot day here in the Mile High City of Colorado.
Oh, interesting. What do you got going on? You got a heat wave out there?
My guy. So this winter has been the driest and most, Colorado's always known for its wildly swinging temperatures and heat and whatever, but we have not had a winter to speak of this entire winter. Like, we haven't even had an accounting of any snow. The ski resorts are literally bone dry, and if they aren't bone dry, they're making and producing snow themselves by weather modifications and producing their snowfall. But very strange. It ties into a lot of the global geoengineering, that whole bag, right?
Perfect. I was just talking about that. So what do you thinking is going on out there? Are they messing with your sky?
Well, there are, and I bark about this stuff on my X all the time, and you get the normal, chemtrail denials, and they're not putting anything into the air, and I'm just like, there's literally patents, and there's literally government. We know this. Currently, Colorado, I believe, last time I checked, had 7 different, not just government patents, but we're talking like private corporation patents to promote and build these. Make sure that these ski resorts and ski information, they have snow. Right. And this is, and they were actually promoting it like it was a good thing. I think it was like a little over a month ago I posted it on my channel, but they were like, in one side of their mouth, they're saying that the geoengineering and cloud seeding doesn't exist, but at the other side, they're saying this is good for ski resorts and it's good for mountain towns because we need to make sure we have snowpack for our skiers and our resorts. It's absolutely crazy. So that's one of the things. I was also going to call on and touch base on. I don't know if you were talking about it or heard about it, but DIA shutting down.
No, tell me about it.
So yesterday, DIA is like the world's second largest airport, I believe. It's the underground military base for the elites and the swastika-shaped landing strips and Lucifer, all the conspiracies. But it was shut down for like 5 or 6 hours yesterday due to a power shortage, due to a power shutoff, and they have trams that run from terminals to terminals. Like, people were stuck in trams. DIA talked about a apology letter, all this stuff.
Yeah, so let's I want to put a pin in that real quick because I want to finish up some more geoengineering stuff. But I did see that story. That is an insane story. And I want to get because there's a lot of airport closures going on. But real quick though, is there anyone else in your area thinking like this is just unnatural? Or are they saying I'm sure there's people who are saying this is just your climate change, like Al Gore type climate change, or are there people saying like the sky's been different this season?
There's groups in my circle that are a little bit more understanding to the geoengineering agenda, and there's also a wide the lay people out there. They are in full form, full mass formation psychosis of the denying that this is all because of climate change. This is all because of global warming. We have to shut down the power plants, and we have to use electric lawnmowers to stop weather change. And it's an absolute absurd reality that they're speaking of. But I think and I personally, my personal opinion on it, my personal take is that we obviously, the planet moves through cycles of weather and climate over longer periods of time. However, I truly believe this dry spell that Colorado's, and it's not just Colorado. I mean, you could look at Nebraska, you could look at the entire Midwest, Rocky Mountains. We have not had a substantial snowfall. It's been a one calendar year since any report of any blizzard in multiple Midwestern and Rocky Mountain states. So it's not just a Colorado issue. This is a rampant West Coast or Western United States problem. But I do believe that it is tied intimately to the looming pole shift and the geomagnetics of the planet and the cataclysms that historians and humanity has talked about for thousands of years.
I wonder if people who do geoengineering are not being forthcoming about believing in, like you said, the pole shift. Like, I'm not so sure about the pole shift. I looked into that theory. I've talked to that guy. I do believe the Earth happens like there's cyclical nature to the weather patterns and how things go in the atmosphere. But I wonder if some of these people are like, we have to. I mean, Bill Gates is pretty open about it actually with ScopeX. We've got to block the sun to reverse this stuff. But they're typically only talking about human or man-made climate change. I wonder if there's something more there. They're like, we predict actually, some major problem with solar flares or you name it, and they're trying to reverse something. But by doing that, it's making it worse, right? Like, there's no, what does Thomas Sowell say? No solutions, only trade-offs.
Yeah. Yep. No. And I think you kind of you're maybe it's a mixed bag with what you're saying, because I do agree that whether they are doing it for the intent to stop said issue or doing it for the intent to propagate said issue, I think it might be irrelevant to the fact that it's going to happen, and the power structure likes to and encourages the fact that it is the problem that we created, right? We made this problem, therefore we have to be the ones to quote unquote fix it. Yeah. And whether that it's exasperating the issue or stymieing the issue it's up for debate.
Well, that's exactly what Augustus told me. The Rainmaker guy, with the mullet. When we did IRL together, he said, we have to fix this. It's our steward. We have to be stewards of the planet. He was, I forget which verse he was quoting from Scripture. I think it was in Genesis, to be a steward of the earth. But that was his plea to us as well, to anyone who's a critic of him. I also, whatever they're doing, I don't want them to do it. I don't care what they think. just don't do it. What I actually might think is even more possible is that they're probably, I think a lot of these people are part of a death cult, and they're like doomsayers, and they maybe want to accelerate it in the same way that, we're talking about maybe someone from, like we were just talking yesterday, I think, about the red heifer guy, in Israel, like the Jewish prophecy of manufacturing the end times or a man-made Messiah, whatever. Like,
they actually believe that they have to be the ones to fulfill it. So why wouldn't they do every aspect that they can, every way they can?
Exactly. So then you tie that to the geoengineers, and maybe they are trying to accelerate whatever they think is possible that could happen and bring about the next, age, ice age, whatever it is. Yeah.
Well, think about this, though, really quick. I mean, you think about the industry of abortion, right? And the fact that they've manufactured, the murdering of millions of babies annually. And you apply that same psyche, that same thought process to the planet, to the population as a whole, as this subverted campaign in the propagation of positive reinforcement of this is good. We're allowing, abortion is healthcare. Abortion is, all this hogwash, right? Well, they layer that same energy onto this weather, onto climate, onto the Mother Gaia and this planet. We're the steward. We have to be the good people to make these difficult decisions of geoengineering and putting chemicals in the sky and weather modification and blocking out the sun. It's good for us, right?
Yep. Yeah, they're just here to help. They're here to save us, and I think them trying to engineer the sky, engineer the weather, is a lot. It reminds me a lot of the same conversation similar people were having during lockdowns and COVID and vaccines, where it's like, take the vaccine, you'll save yourself, but it's actually going to accelerate death and harm and all that good stuff. So, yeah, okay. The other thing I want to say is that I was asking you about the skies and what people are saying out there. Before we had our first real major storm blizzard this year in West Virginia, I'm always watching the sky and chemtrails, and I noticed a ton the 2 days before the storm, and then the day before the storm, more than I'd seen in a long time. And I posted pictures of those, and I was getting pictures from around the country of people saying similar things and being like, I've never seen it this bad. And then we got this ridiculous blizzard. The snow was weird. I didn't go burning it with a lighter, but it just was bizarre snow. It wasn't the snow of my childhood, let's say, where you could make a snowman with the kids. It was a weird ice chemical.
Well, when I was a kid, I remember we'd always and then this other thing, the geoengineering deniers. They're like, well, it's El Nino and La Nina. I go, you know what? No amount of tiny Mexican children would ever allow this kind of geoengineering to take place. Don't quit blaming the Mexican children. But no, but you look at what happened when I was a kid. We used to be able to dig through 3 feet of snow on spring break, and it's not out of the question for Colorado to get blizzards up until May. But I remember vividly when you dig through the snow, it was a bright blue. When you would scoop into the snow, it was like looking into Gulf water. Like, it was very blue, very bright. And at the time, obviously I didn't think anything of it. I was a kid, but fast forward to just last week, we got I would call it a dusting, but we maybe got 2 inches of snow. My roommate just washed his truck the day before, and he's all bent out of shape. And then we get into his car, we go up to his truck, and his truck, after he just washed it, was literally covered with the darkest, almost mud/black, just residue. Like, it looked like someone took a bucket of ash and threw it on his car.
Yeah, that's weird.
He washed his truck the day before. So what's in the snow, folks?
Yep. I mean, and Augustus also told me it was easier for him to make snow. Yeah, and I think they are. Obviously, we know they can do all this stuff. They've been doing it for decades, but something's bad in it. I guarantee you it won't be long until they say the stuff they've been putting in these clouds for cloud seeding is bad. I will say Augustus has said he's trying to not use silver iodide anymore, but what's next? I don't know. And beyond that, it's also just don't mess with it. That's over whatever you're putting in the sky and all these chemicals. Also, don't mess with it, because it does interfere with the pattern of nature, whatever's left of it. Actually,
it's not just nature, but it's the water cycle. It's the soul. It's everything that allows for water and sun and precipitation. Larger processes happen. I mean, where we live, we have a very beautiful and amazing place we live in, and the fact that we have the ego, and we are so bullheaded as a species to think that we can fix everything, and we're the arbiters of reality and truth. And I'm just, sometimes you just gotta let it all kind of work out on its own, and whatever workout means, it might not be your version of it, but mom's gonna make it all good. Mom's gonna make it all better soon.
Yeah, dude. And we do have the power to help things and help our surroundings, help ourselves, improve things, but we should also have like a moral line of what we won't cross this. We're talking about certain things in science, like the guy in China who did the thing where he made like kids immune from HIV somehow in utero. And I think he went to jail for doing this, and then he came out and he said ethics are the only thing holding progress in science back. Like, well, yeah, maybe we shouldn't be making chimeras. Yeah, exactly. Like, I don't trust that, and we should apply that to all things. We shouldn't be messing.
It comes from Yuval Noah Harari has said many a things, and if you want to distill his essence into a sentence, it's the fact that he believes that we are the designers of the universe, and we are gods, and we have every right to do the most extreme capable measures to control our reality, and applying that to every aspect, and throwing out morality, throwing out ethics, that's what makes us human. And you can apply that to any political, social, environmental topic. Is that if we don't have a baseline of ethics and standing and principle on how we address difficult issues as a society, what kind of society are we actually producing?
100%, dude. I totally agree. All right, airports. Why do you think they're getting shut down? This has been a real thing in the news. Like, we've seen, I think, like a dozen airports almost, maybe more, shut down for weird, the official story is never really, it doesn't seem to pass the sniff test. We had that one in, what was it, New Mexico maybe, or Arizona. They're like, we're shutting it down for 90 days or something, or the airspace above the airport for 90 days. So yeah, the Colorado airport, Denver airport shut down yesterday. That's a very strange airport. A lot of weird things going on there. Weird statues, weird art, a lot of rumors, military underground tunnels, all that good stuff. What's your take on this?
Yes. So stemming off, just to give you a little precursor. About a year or two ago, a lot of talk in Denver Metro, Colorado reports. They were talking about how they wanted to shift Denver Airport DIA to a standalone nuclear power. They wanted to. They were proposing. This is all just propositions, but they wanted to make DIA run on its own nuclear energy, which I think is I don't see a problem with nuclear energy, especially small scale. And if you make it done right, I think it's a brilliant, clean energy forward. But it's priming the conversation, right? And then you fast forward to yesterday, and the fact that they shut down DIA for 5 to 6 hours. People were stuck in these trams that run underground, go from terminal to terminal. So everything's electric, but people were stuck in these trams for hours, and they had to evacuate somehow. I don't know how they did it. It'd be awesome to find anyone who was stuck in the tram, and if they either did get evacuated or they had to stand there for 5 hours. And if they did get evacuated, did they end up having to go through emergency exit tunnels within the tunnels in transit? It'd be interesting to dig into that a bit, but I think that they're on service. Yeah, sure, power gets shut off, and we apologize for this inconvenience, but DIA is one of the largest hubs for international travel. For it to have a lapse in its operations for that extended period of time, and the fact that DIA has never actually finished construction. It is still to this day not finished construction as per the plans. And if you've dug in, and I've done many videos on this in years past, but like everyone who's ever been a contractor or company that works within the DIA building process never has its full plans, or one company builds a certain part of it and then contract shifts and then the other company finishes the other part of it. So no one has ever really seen the full grand master plan of any terminals or any hotels or any build outs that they've been doing for the last 25 years.
So it's like it's the Manhattan Project of airports.
100%. And they moved more dirt than 2/3 of the amount of dirt removed when they built the Panama Canal, when they built DIA.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. And there's some reports of 12-story tunnels on the runway where there's underground, like, you know, they call them water, you know, drainage or whatever, but dudes have been there. There's been claims that these tunnels go down very, very deep, and they're out on the runway. Indian Burial Grounds, you name it. But I do think that the power shut off. They either move something very big in, or they move something very big out. And very big meaning it could be a litany of things. I mean, it boggles the mind the amount of possibilities that you can actually see, and what's actually under DIA. And tangential story, but I took a tour. DIA is out east of Colorado, or of Denver, so it's like probably a 45-minute drive east. It's almost in Kansas. Everyone makes a joke of it. You go to Denver Airport, you land in Kansas. But about 3 years ago, I was in contact with a individual who owns a 1962 Cold War military bunker that's about 5 miles away from DIA. Wow. And I was privileged enough to take a tour of this military bunker, and it was massive, and it was huge. We're talking you could park a dozen dumpsters, you know, a dozen trash trucks in one of the rooms, and there was a dozen rooms, and these tunnels went on, and I've got video of it from. I'd have to pull it up, but and it just goes to show you that out east in Colorado, that's just one example of the amount of underground military installations that they've been building since the 50s and 60s. And like they actually had 3 small-scale nuclear reactors in there, and they were the reactor. I'm sorry, they might not have been nuclear reactors, but they were power plants within this underground base. I've got the pictures. It's absolutely crazy. It was all in disrepair, right? It wasn't like a finished bunker. It was like this. My buddy got it on the cheap. He owned a lot of Bitcoin and he bought it, but it was an experience.
Dude, that's awesome. Like, you have theories about what is going on beneath the airport?
Yes. So and it kind of ties in. You know, I feel like Charlie with the red line on the chalkboard, right? But Denver is a central geographical location in the United States for human trafficking. And the I-25 corridor and I-70 corridor meet right in Denver. In combination with the immigration, in combination with Colorado state legislation, the fact that they're killing bill after bill, protecting child abusers and human traffickers specifically. They were about to decriminalize prostitution this year, but thankfully a lot of people in my circle, we killed that bill along with other contributing factors. But I do believe that it is intimately tied with human trafficking, child trafficking, you know, at the Epstein conversation. It all comes back down to moving people through not just Denver, but through DIA, underground installations. We're talking international. It could be massive, and I think that when you look at everything, you look at the legislation, you look at the people that are involved in politics here. We have a governor right now someone running for governor. His name is Victor Marx, and it's Marx, not associated with the communists, but that's open for interpretation. But he's a Republican guy, and he's been known for his protecting children, protecting women, advocacy. He's got groups for protecting human traffickers. He's running for governor right now in hopes that we get him in the midterms. And I think that's a great thing to stop, to have someone that's a proponent for human. But here's the real kicker. Why is someone who's never been involved with politics before suddenly now saying to everyone, like this is our do or die moment here in Colorado, and we have to stop this. We have to right this ship, and the fact that he's intimately involved with this the human trafficking stuff, and not just him, but there's another governor that's also, he's a current representative, and he's saying he's got dirt, he's got receipts on pedophilia and human trafficking in and around the Gold Dome in Denver, Colorado. So I think that DIA, I think that the underground bases, I think this installation effort literally runs deep in Colorado, and it involves human trafficking.
Yeah, man, it's a horrible reality that we have to confront. I mean, we know how many children and adults are trafficked around the world, and the internet's made it worse. And people pretend like we aren't barbaric anymore just because we have like skyscrapers that are made of glass and fancy cars that drive themselves. But we're as barbaric as we've ever been because it's human nature. And people, we talk about the Finger Lakes being a hub of trafficking and tunnels there underneath different airports like Denver. We talk about the Super Bowl becomes a place for trafficking. We know the southern border has been, as far as they tell us, maybe 300,000 children went missing over that border. So this is a huge issue, and clearly they have to be doing it somehow. The kids are going somewhere and they're being transported somehow. I've listened to different congressmen over the years talk about being in contact with people who were kids who were trafficked, who got away, and how there are high rises in Manhattan that just have child sex slaves, and they're there 24/7. What a horrible hell on earth situation that is. So I know it's a dark reality that people really don't want to hear about, but I think it's got to be like maybe the number one thing people talk about. And I hate to break it to everyone, but that's the reality.
It all ties together. Like it all, any outlandish conspiracy that you think of can very well be weaved into the end goal. These people that are doing this stuff worship Moloch. They worship Baal. They feed on human sacrifice. They feed on this energy, adrenochrome and the sacrifice of the innocent. So they have to institute that on a massive scale. And what better way to do that than to use a most public institution like an in and out, high volume airport or a high volume event to mask everything. And not only that, they're using our tax dollars. And when you tie it to the Super Bowl, a lot of the occult belief, they have this layer of they need the mass public involvement through through obfuscation, right? So they involve us in a tertiary way, whether it be through taxes or through just merely observing the halftime shows, and they give that validates their quote unquote our approval of the evil that they do. They're saying we're putting this blatantly out in public with symbolism and all of our different means very publicly, but you gotta be aware, you gotta be keen and know what you're looking for when you see it. And once the veil's lifted, there's no going back.
Dude, I totally agree. And it's they like the idea of people, unbeknownst to the public, that they are participating in these rituals. And it's really disturbing stuff. Well, hey, man, that was a pleasure. Great to hear from you again. Please let everyone know where they can find you. We are talking to Corey from Break the Chains Media. It's been a minute, and it's great to have you back. But, yeah, tell everyone where they can find you online, dude.
Yeah, I love being a part of the show. I think you do great work and keep crushing it. But if you can find me on Break the Chains M on X, you can go to breakthechains.media. That is the website. I do Colorado reporting, journalism, on the ground stuff. I just ripped on some state representatives about they wanting to tax the rich and destroy our Tabor rights here in Colorado. So do a lot of political stuff, but I'm a jack of all trades, master of some. So yeah, stay tuned, and we'll keep fighting for freedom.
Awesome, man. Amen. Thank you so much for the call, dude. Later. Incredible. Great call. Thank you for calling in, and I'll keep an eye out, see if we get anyone else on this lovely morning. For those who are just tuning in now, thanks for joining us, and I am pre-recording this earlier in the day. That's been my new schedule. For those who've missed all of my spiels, such a funny word, spiel, about this, I recording early in the day. I put out the link to call in. I'm typically recording around 11. I was supposed to have a guest today. Last minute reschedule. He will be back, and I also have another guest for next week, next Thursday. I'm looking forward to that. And so I'm trying to make Thursdays for a guest. Probably won't be call-ins. It depends. You know, and I'm going to be flexible with schedule in terms of if a guest can't do Thursday, I will try another time. So, but that is where we're at for now. And just shout out to all you guys. Shout out to YouTube. Shout out to Rumble. And, you know, I forget about the people who just listen to this, who like, we want to hear them. We just hate looking at them. And I don't blame you. I have a mutant forehead that is the product of growing up at the bottom of a landfill. That's a real story. One of my sisters had a molar that came in upside down, and I got this caveman forehead, which as my hair falls out more and more, the forehead reveals itself, and it actually looks like the landfill. No lie. Anyway, that was a great call. Thank you, Corey. Check him out. He is a great follow on Twitter. Mysterious three-sided pyramid, similar to those in Egypt, spotted on Mars in NASA footage. Tell me again, is Mars real? Is Mars real? Have we been there? Are we going there? Are we about to conquer it? Is Mars our next Cuba? I was thinking Mars is like our Haiti, if it's real. If we can somehow get there. If it's real, we can get there. It's going to be like our Haiti, where America has been experimenting on the destruction of humanity on a small scale, as if Haiti was our petri dish. This is beginning with Woodrow Wilson conquering it for 20. I think he took it. Then we had it for 20 years because it was a naval base. And then obviously the Clintons, when they had their reptile honeymoon, they went to Haiti, and they just looked at each other and French kiss with their forked tongues and said, "Honey, we're gonna destroy this place." And they did. Not only did they destroy it through tariffs, the rice tariff, I think it was the rice tariff, that collapsed their rice economy. It's not funny. I'm laughing because it's just so ghastly. Because Bill would later say about his mistakes with Haiti as president that he made a deal with the devil. Those are his words. And then later on, we know what happened to the Clinton Foundation with Haiti and how disastrous that was. They even sent down mobile homes for shelters for people who lost, all their homes and all these places after the earthquake. Those mobile homes were filled with dangerous amounts of formaldehyde. The same foundation, the Clinton Foundation, also sent similar mobile homes to Katrina, to post-Katrina New Orleans. And they also had formaldehyde in them. Like, what? And then we know all the rumors of child trafficking after Haiti and the earthquake, which we talked about when we were reading the Epstein files. I think that was like day one of Epstein files when we covered it on the first day after them being released. And we saw that the country of Turkey opened up an investigation into thousands of children possibly being trafficked out of Turkey after the earthquake in 1998 or 1999. And that story sounds very similar to the things we were hearing outside of Haiti, coming out of Haiti after the earthquake. And now we got Cuba getting a 6.0 earthquake because we hit them with the discombobulator and we turned on the earthquake machine, and Trump's going to be like, "No, you are ours. We're taking over." They haven't had electricity in a week, I guess. Back to Mars. A mysterious pyramid-like structure spotted on Mars has sparked theories that an ancient civilization, making sure I'm still recording here, that's great. DIY, guys, it's DIY. I'm out here with a paper cup and a string. Theories that an ancient civilization similar to our own may have once existed on the red planet. A viral post has flooded the internet this week highlighting a NASA video of the Martian surface that some claim show a three-sided pyramid. The formation was initially spotted by researcher Keith Laney in footage captured by NASA's Mars Global Surveyor in 2001. He was scanning the imagery for unusual structures when he came across what he believes could be an artificial formation. He is quoted as saying, were this found anywhere on Earth, we'd surely be digging into it. The footage was recently reshared by documentary filmmaker Brian Dobbs, who claimed on Mars there is a three-sided pyramid the size of the Great Pyramid in Egypt. That's what they're saying. I'm just reading the news. Dobbs acknowledged the structure is far from proof of ancient life, but said it raises questions about whether another species could have once inhabited the planet. Or, this is me now speaking, was it Elon's ancestors? I think Elon is a descendant of an ancient breakaway civilization, and they sent him here to figure out how to conquer Earth and then reverse engineer the blueprints we gave you so you can come back home. The so-called pyramid sits in the western region of Condor Chasma, one of the largest canyons within Valles Marineris. Here, it's a really lovely place to vacation this time of year. The second largest canyon system in the solar system. In the fake solar system, the region is known for steep cliffs, landslides, and layered rock formations, which scientists say can naturally create unusual and highly geometric surface features. The formation has been observed across 5 separate images taken by NASA's Mars Global Surveyor and Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter missions between 2001 and 2016. The earliest image, taken on July 4th, 2001, showed the formation illuminated from the west, highlighting one face of the structure while the others fell into shadow. A follow-up image in April 2002 captured similar features under different lighting conditions, again revealing a three-sided shape. Later, more detailed images from the Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter, including one taken in 2007 with a much higher resolution, revealed additional surface features that were not visible in earlier photographs. These images showed sharper edges and more defined symmetry across the structure's faces. Further images taken in 2014 and 2016 continued to show the same triangular formation, with shifting sunlight casting varying shadows that emphasized its geometric appearance. In some cases, one side of the structure appeared almost completely dark, while others were partially illuminated. Researchers noted that despite differences in image quality, sun angle, and seasonal conditions, the formation consistently displayed a uniform, three-sided symmetry across all observations. Dobbs, let's check here. I'm just checking in here. Dobbs is just one of many believers who have questioned whether potentially alien or artificial buildings on Mars, such as pyramids, could exist. Speaking to the Daily Mail last year, Mars researcher George Haas echoed Laney's findings and other investigations into similar objects on the planet's surface. You don't have to be a geologist to know the difference between a rock and a sculpture, something that's geometric, he explained. In a research paper co-authored with other investigators, Haas reported that the structural form of this three-sided pyramid, this is a quote now, observed within the western region of Condor Chasma is real and exhibits a level of geometry and symmetry that supports a high probability of artificial origins. Laney commented on Haas's findings, saying that the pyramid is most definitely artificial. At the end of 2025, unearthed CIA documents revealed that the agency had conducted mysterious experiments in an effort to learn more about Mars. I'm so glad I brought this up. According to the agency, these missions revealed that an ancient civilization that built at least one pyramid did exist, leading credence to Laney's research. Codenamed Project Stargate, the researchers allegedly transported a subject's consciousness back in time via astral projection. I'm trying to think if I want to transition into why this is so interesting to me. I keep talking about Operation Stargate with Trump, right? The new Stargate, and how I think these are connected. I've talked about this over time, but let me finish this before I get ahead of myself. The subject described seeing a mysterious pyramid and a road that suggested an ancient civilization lived on the planet. This is when I think this is Joe McConnell remote viewed Mars at the behest of the CIA. He said, and this is from Joe, the remote viewer, or I guess he was a CIA agent, remote viewer. It sort of looks, I kind of got an oblique view of a pyramid or pyramid form, one of the test subjects of Project Stargate said. See, I think Mars is fake, and they've just been photoshopping things onto it and just confirming whatever bias remote viewers had from CIA experiments where these agents were taking acid and pretending to look at Mars. Additionally, former CIA agent, this is Joe McGonigal again, also revealed that the agency had conducted experiments that spotted similar-looking pyramids across the surface of Mars. McGonigal described a pyramid larger than the ones in Egypt, filled with monster rooms. We went over this about it like a year ago. Without actually setting foot on Mars, it will be difficult to determine the exact makeup of pyramids such as these, but that hasn't stopped rampant speculation of how they were created. Oh man, oh man. Beneath this story is a link to something about the Ayatollah, the new Ayatollah, who I guess is a coma, and I just remembered that Trump said he was gay. Oh man, what a time to be alive. What a time to be alive. I had another story here, something circulating recently about a shiny object found on Mars. I'm trying to open that. We'll see if that one wants to open. But my internet is just hating on me now. Well, while that's trying to load, I don't need it. We can just talk. And I'm waiting for a caller. But maybe has the internet been crazy for everyone else? The weird weather. We've had schizophrenic weather here. It's been really bizarre. Really cold, really hot. And I don't know. I think the fake clouds are interrupting my Wi-Fi. I had a lot of trouble uploading the episode the other day, like I said. And the internet's just been on and off, very spotty. And here we are again. And I'm not using the internet to record this, so I'm still going. But there was a shiny object that people said they saw on Mars, and that article is just not coming up because of the fake clouds are attacking me. But oh, look at this. I got someone calling in. I was going to get into Project Stargate, but let's get to the caller, shall we? Who do we have here? I have Justin. We're joining. Justin, if you can hear me, you are on Inverted World. You got to unmute yourself, and you are with us now on Inverted World. But your mic is muted. If you can hear me, Justin, your mic is muted. Hopefully, Big Cloud's not. Hey, what's up, man?
How's it going?
It's going well. Thanks for calling in. What's up?
I was calling to talk about, I messaged you on X the other day. We were talking about the Kevin Spacey thing, the weird Kevin Spacey thing.
Sick. Dude, that was weird. What was that about? What were you thinking when it was happening? Were you saying, like, is Tucker... How did you view it? Let's just start with that. How did you view that? That was very bizarre. For those who don't know what we're talking about, it was when Tucker interviewed Kevin Spacey, but Kevin Spacey was in character from the guy from House of Cards that he played.
It came off like super odd, and it didn't seem like it got like a whole lot of traction on people. I was just like, because Tucker's got all these different people on there, and then all of a sudden, this dude, and I think it was right around the time Kevin Spacey was had just gotten off of whatever charges he was facing or whatever.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he was.
I kind of went back and watched it. He's almost kind of like pitching for president. I think there were some ads at the time too.
Interesting. I mean, we've seen Kevin Spacey return to that character. It seemed like a few Thanksgivings in a row, and it was interesting, because I enjoyed that show. I didn't watch it after he left. I thought that was a pretty great character, and I was fascinated by it. But then the allegations came, and with allegations these days, you don't know what's real, what's not. There's so many false allegations, and but he's weird. Like he was just tap dancing in Israel, right? He was tap dancing in Tel Aviv. It was a very weird video. I don't know what that's about, but it seems like a lot of people are tap dancing in Tel Aviv, either metaphorically or literally these days. But yeah, I have not rewatched the interview, but I remember when it came out being like, that is an odd thing to do. I wonder what this is about. I didn't really know what to make of it, but I just thought it was a very interesting thing because Tucker doesn't really do that kind of thing. He hasn't done it ever again. He's had comedians on, but
it's like you said, he's done this before, but he did it with Tucker. And I remember seeing, like, I don't know if it was on YouTube or Twitter or whatever, but like ads for Underwood for president. Just like, I have a theory. This is my theory.
All right.
I think all these people are actors, and Tucker's trying to like show the world that everybody's an actor.
Dude, I'm with you. I'm with you. I think there's a strong possibility that most of the people we see on the major platforms could be acting, or they don't even realize they're actors. There is also that possibility, that they're filling the shoes of a role, and that they've been maybe astroturfed to do this or whatever, or just being fed bad information. You see people who are surrounded by, bad actors. I don't mean it in the sense of maybe it could be both. Bad actors are just people who are trying to hurt you and your information, give you bad information, or actual people playing a part, like we're all in our own version of a Truman Show. But like Trump, I think, is surrounded by bad people, and they're giving him bad information. And, respect to Joe Kent for what he did. I really appreciate that. And so that happens.
His interview with Tucker, that was good.
Sick. Yeah, I want to watch that. I watched a few clips, thought it looked great. I think Joe is a really stand-up dude. One of the actual, I've had the pleasure of meeting a lot of, maybe pleasure is not the right word. I've met a lot of people, and Joe is one of the few that's actually, he seemed authentic to me. Now, look, I don't know. Everyone's got their own flaws, so it is what it is. I'm flawed, whatever, but I really enjoyed talking to Joe, and I always have respect for soldiers, and his story is really insane. The way he lost his wife is terrible, is very tragic, and he seemed like a good dad. Like, he seems like a dad who cares about his kids. So
I think I remember when he was on IRL with you guys. I remember that.
Yeah, we've done IRL together, and I think I actually did a culture war with him when Tim was out, and it was me and Hannah Claire and Joe, and it was years ago. But it was rad. And, I think Joe might have Peter Thiel connections. I try to overlook those, but everyone does. But, it's tough. But with Joe, I'm like, okay, that seems authentic. But going back to the actors thing, I agree with you. I think
Tucker's trying to shift the Overton window a little bit, because if you come out and just tell everybody that they're like, you think they're all actors, that might still come off a little weird,
Right. Oh, right. Thank you. You just reminded me of what I was going to say. I like Tucker. I like watching his show. I think he's one of the more interesting people who has a show and has very interesting conversations. And I agree with a lot of what he says, and, whatever. But there was something with him that was weird to me that made me think maybe he is an actor. And that was when I forget who he was talking to. Maybe it was Candace, when he said he just found out that his dad was in the CIA. But like, we all knew that for years. I mean, he said that a long time ago. So I was like, why are you saying that? I mean, look, people who talk a lot in front of a camera every day, you're bound to say something wrong, or maybe you lied, or maybe you misremembered, or whatever. But that's a very serious thing about your dad being CIA, and you don't remember it, or you just found out. And then he like told Nick a different story when he had Fuentes on. So that was always like, that's weird. Maybe it was a slip up. Those things happen. Obviously, we're all flawed. But I always wondered, like, why. That's a very interesting thing to slip up on,
Yeah, I agree.
But no, keep going.
I'm curious, did you get a chance did you watch the Sean Ryan with, what's his name? Rippenberg, the priest?
No, not yet. I saw some clips.
It's pretty wild.
Okay. I do want to watch it. I want to watch it. It looked pretty good. You liked it?
I liked it. I'll admit, I turned it off at one point because I'm like, holy crap, this guy's creeping me out a little bit, Talking about all the different, way demons get a hold of you, and they can possess you in different levels of possession, and yeah.
Yeah, I'd like to see that. I understand. That's a tough watch, because I believe that. I believe demons can get a hold of you, and
I don't know how you can't believe that at this point.
Right. Like, if you just look around. I mean, how do we live through the last 6 years? I mean, I'm about to be 41, and now looking back on a lot of my life pre me believing in God, I'm like, oh, a lot of that was just evil, real evil. And the more and more I dive into this and reading my Bible, and I just think that's just reality. In this fallen world, there's demon possession. But yeah, I saw that. I want to watch it. The last Sean Ryan, I have reservations about Sean Ryan. There's things about him. I think he means well, but he's like one of these people that I think might be an actor too, but maybe he doesn't know, because any former CIA, that's a weird thing to me. Are you ever former CIA? But I also know people have been in these institutions and they just realize they suck. The institutions suck, and they want to speak out against it. So, I think he's been sincere. I saw a video he made it recently about wanting to protect kids. I think he's sincere in that video. But there's certain things with him. I'm like the Newsom interview, or the interview he did with Charlie's security guard, I thought was ridiculous. And that was sketchy. And the interview he did with the Rainmaker CEO, I hated. I was like, that interview is terrible. But, Sean, I don't think is as invested in fake clouds like I am. So I obviously came to that interview with a lot of bias.
That guy's kind of become your nemesis a little.
He's my nemesis. He's my nemesis.
Yeah, he's creepy, and I don't think you should be messing with that crap.
I came home from the little disagreement he and I had on IRL, and there was literally a black. I'm not exaggerating. There was a black cloud and a thunderstorm over my house and my house alone. I swear to you. I texted. I messaged him on Twitter and said, "Did you send this cloud?" And I don't know if he knew what to make of that, but I did see. I didn't watch the full episode yet, but my friend Jeremy Ryan Slate was on Sean Ryan recently, and Jeremy will be on this show next week, and I was stoked to see that. And I did also like. I didn't watch the whole thing, but I enjoyed that Sean had Brett Cooper on after the whole Daily Wire fallout, and I had respect to that. I don't watch Brett, but I, can respect her situation, and was happy to see her get out of that bondage, and but yeah, no, I think you're onto something though overall with the actors thing, and it's something I think about quite often. Why are they saying this now? I think about it when we're looking at different people who have access to the White House now in terms of media, and they're kind of living in an echo chamber, and I don't know if they're being told to say certain things, or they just are happy to repeat certain things. And I see it a lot now when it comes to the UFO disclosure. It's a lot of these people, they're like, yeah, UFOs, da-da-da-da. I'm like, okay, it seems like you're just on board with whatever narrative they want you to sell, right?
Yeah. Actually, the UFO stuff is have you read Creature from Jekyll Island?
No, I haven't. I should. I know about it.
He talks later in the book, like he gets into like some of the New World Order stuff, and he brings up a report called the Report from something Mountain. How's it called? Iron Mountain.
Okay.
And they're talking, and they're like the different scenarios as a way to bring like about their sort of New World Order thing. One of them being climate change, the other one being kind of a staged alien attack kind of deal.
Whoa. Well, I mean, that's also Werner von Braun, I think, was saying that we were going to have a war between aliens and humans at some point.
Yeah. It's funny, too, because I used to believe in aliens until the government started spouting out. I'm like, I kind of sketchy, man. I don't know if I believe you.
I totally agree. The fact that they're trying to make this, so it's been like a slow roll. I mean, if you've heard me talk about it before, like they've been slowly stripping away the taboo of it, rebranding UFO to UAP, and now we get Trump talking about it. It's something is happening, and it just seems contrived. It seems like a manufactured narrative, whether it's for a distraction or to tether this to some other thing. But yeah, I mean, I gave up on aliens after like me really diving deeper into like demons and thinking about what Earth is, what creation is, what evil is, and then the narrative of aliens, where that started, all those things. And the alien thing seems silly now, the way they want us to believe in it. Obviously there's something supernatural happening, but yeah, I'm on board with that, with the way you see it as well.
Have you seen the weird meteor videos that have been sprouting up?
Oh, yeah. I talked about it yesterday, dude. And there was like a green one in Australia yesterday, another one in California. What's your take on that?
I kind of watch them. Some of them move like almost unnaturally, like almost like propelled on their own, like moving back and forth and stuff. Yep.
What do you think? Do you think they're using that to make people think that this is something UFO related, or there's people saying it's just man-made, or is this just something weird that we can't explain?
Could be any of the above. Could just be to distract from Epstein. Anything to distract from that.
Oh, that is the truth. We'll start wars. We'll blow you up just to stop talking about satanic cannibal pedophiles. Goodness gracious.
Yeah. There's some of that kind of stuff coming out. I'm only about 100 pages through the weird scenes of the canyon, and there was something in there very similar.
Which part? Remind me if you don't mind.
Yeah. Oh, I'm trying to think. It was just like something I read that somebody had. Errol Flynn.
Okay.
That was what reminded me, because he had a house built like to his specifications. It had all these weird peepholes and tunnels, and they tried saying it was like some weird voyeur thing, but it might have been spying on guests for blackmail. It reminded me of that. Yeah.
That's right. The documentarian, right? Is that Errol Flynn?
Errol Flynn was an actor. He did like swashbuckling movies, if I remember correctly.
Okay.
30s and 40s and stuff.
Okay. Right. Yeah, that's interesting. I think that was a lot of happening out there. I think people don't want to believe Epstein was doing that. First of all, I've heard that a ton of times. Like, he wasn't really spying on people. Like, no, we know that. I mean, I think we've seen emails with him telling Israel, like, yeah, you can have access to this footage. It's whatever. But it's obviously he wasn't the only one doing it. Clearly, the CIA's been doing it forever, and they learned it from someone. So this is a widespread situation. They're watching you at all times. I mean, they've got satellites watching you, your phone watching. It's all everywhere, all at once.
Well, it was even like Jim Brewer when he was on Rogan pointing out Pinocchio and Weird Island for little boys, and like,
yes.
Yes. Okay.
Yes, and they're traumatized and like turn into animals. In the old school version, it's this trauma based thing that happens to children, and that I didn't realize that. I didn't see the full Brewer clip, but I was reading it to one of my kids a long time ago, and I had an old copy of the book, and I was like, wow, this is really creepy and very Epstein-y. The island, the children, these lost kids, the trauma. It's disturbing stuff.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, I never thought nothing about it. I mean, I grew up watching Pinocchio, and when he pointed, of course, once this stuff started coming out, you kind of started to see it a little bit. Yep. It's like, yep.
Yep. You can't avoid it, dude. Would you have anything else you want to add before we let you go?
No, I might call back at some point once I get this book. It's pretty wild. Thanks for the suggestion.
Awesome.
It's a pretty interesting book.
Yeah, dude, it's crazy. There's so many weird connections in it. And have you read Chaos?
I have read Chaos. It's very, very, very tied to that one.
Yeah. And what I did, I read. It was a few years ago now. It was Chaos, the Laurel Canyon book, and then I did Poisoner in Chief. And if you haven't done that one, I recommend that as well. And it kind of Poisoner in Chief, and it's about the beginning of MK Ultra, Sidney Gottlieb, the CIA, Alan Dulles, and just it is like one of these more like that one is more of a New York Times bestseller. It's really well written and really well researched, but just it's like always keep that in mind, because some of these writers have a certain narrative in mind, and if something is like weird to you, I'd recommend looking it up, doing a little more research. But that said, it's a really good book, and it's way better than the most recent MK Ultra book that came out this year, which I tried reading, and that guy did Rogan, and I was like, okay, I'll check this out, but it's really just a SparkNotes version of Poisoner in Chief. So check that one out as well, man. I'm glad you're reading that book, and do call back, man. Love to hear from you.
All right.
Thanks,
cool.
man.
Yep, thanks for having me on.
Of course.
Have a good one.
You too. Sick. Oh, great phone call. Thank you for that. Shiny, let's see here. Geometric object spotted on Mars sparks call for NASA probe. A party hat shaped object. So we got a party hat and we got a pyramid on Mars. So it was spotted on Mars, is drawing renewed scrutiny, with some experts suggesting it could be evidence of something major, while others offered a trashy explanation to the cone. This is MSN. MSN.com. The object, roughly 20 centimeters long with a flat end, was first photographed by NASA's Curiosity rover in 2022 in Gale Crater near the red planet's equator. It was flagged on March 8th by a Harvard University astrophysicist, everyone's favorite. Get the party hats ready, get the balloons ready, Avi Loeb, in a post on Medium. Should we just assume that the mysterious cylinder is human-made debris and move on, or turn back to the rover to figure out whether its origin is different? Loeb asked in a Medium post. Loeb urged NASA to dispatch the small SUV-sized Curiosity rover currently on the slopes of Mars Mount Sharp to investigate the object, which was about 5 miles away. The most likely explanation is that it corresponds to human-made debris, Loeb said. In my opinion, NASA should prioritize going back to examine the cylinder relative to the more mundane tasks of the Curiosity rover that the Curiosity rover is pursuing, Loeb told the Post. NASA is funded by the taxpayers, and if we poll taxpayers, they would likely agree with me that understanding the origin of the mysterious cylinder should be the top priority of Curiosity. Loeb's onto something here, okay? Let's just pretend for a minute Mars is real. I know that's tough. Let's pretend it's real. Let's do it. Let's make it so we can, as a people, come together and then turn the rover into like one of those claw games from the arcade where we can just choose, be like, and we play a game. We could take turns. We can vote where it goes, what it grabs, what it takes pictures of. Let's put us in charge of the rover, okay? Put us in charge of the rover. You can polymarket it if you want. I'm not a betting guy, but let's do it. I saw Polymarket opened a bar these days too. Great times. We are living in crazy and great times. The object was originally pulled from the trove of NASA photos by amateur Mars researcher Rami Bar-Yan and brought to Loeb's attention by Dr. Jan Spacek from the Florida-based Foundation for Applied Molecular Evolution. And NASA has not officially identified the object. FYI. Okay. Just making sure hopefully this is all recording. That's good. I got my paper cup and my string. That's great. I've been laughing. I was joking that my laptop is actually a carton of eggs the other day, and I forget who said it, so I'm sorry. I can't give you credit, but someone said my computer is actually a light bright. Man, that's so funny. Light brights. It was a good toy. A good old 90s toy. Project Mars, a technical tale. I was just thinking about Werner von Braun going to Mars, wanting to go to Mars. Maybe he did. And, Werner von Braun, the Nazi we hired during Operation Paperclip, and he wrote this book about going to Mars and how the government, he said, we could have on Mars would be called the Elon. Gotta love that. Werner von Braun also had on his tombstone the quote from Psalm 19:1, "The heavens declare the glory of God, and the firmament showeth his handiwork." A lot of people, where I went to find that quote, I wasn't sure exactly which psalm it was, but I found it, and on, of all places, www.theflatearthsociety.org. Shout out to them. And I know I mentioned it to the last caller, but I wanted to just add this here as we are concluding today's episode. Werner von Braun, the most famous aerospace engineer and space architect, the guy who did the V2 rocket, I probably says here at some point, predicted a war between humans and aliens before his death. Despite his many accomplishments, von Braun is also remembered for his controversial past as a member of the Nazi Party and his involvement in the development of the V2 rocket. There you go. However, there is another aspect of his life that is less well known. His belief in the possibility of a war between humans and aliens. Let's take a look into what led to von Braun's alien prediction. Born in 1912, we know von Braun started making V2 rockets for Germany. Smart guy. And there's great footage of him on YouTube. We've pulled it up on the show in the past, but he's a fascinating dude. Yes, he was a Nazi. Yes, we hired him. We hired a lot of Nazis in this country. They built NASA. The V2 was a revolutionary weapon. We know that, but I'm trying to get down here. Despite his many accomplishments, people are not remembering this one enough. According to von Braun, the possibility of a war between humans and aliens was not just science fiction, but a real possibility that could occur in the future. He believed that as humanity continued to explore space, we would eventually come into contact with other intelligent life forms, and that some of these encounters could lead to conflict. In an interview in 1952, he stated that we find ourselves faced by powers which are far stronger than we have had hitherto assumed, and whose base is at present unknown to us. And this ties it all nicely together. According to von Braun, the ancient Egyptians knew about the existence of aliens and contacted them, but did not save any records about it. In gratitude for the science, the aliens shared their technology with the Egyptians. Brings it all full circle. Pyramids, Egypt, Mars, aliens, UFO disclosure, actors, everything's fake. But that is a belief he held. I think it's very, very interesting. I think if we do come in contact with something else, I think that is going to be descendants of an ancient breakaway civilization. I really do believe that. But, oh, guys, well, thank you very much for tuning in. I was just seeing here, the internet is just killing me. The fake clouds have been attacking. I don't know why. What did I do? I guess it's my nemesis. He said, you've had enough contact with the outside world. It's time to shut it down. But thank you all for tuning in so much. Thank you guys for all the comments on the videos. It's been awesome hearing from some old viewers who are tuning in. You guys' support means a lot. Seriously. Thank you guys on Rumble and YouTube. Big shout out to all you guys. I'm just seeing here. I want to look at some comments from yesterday before I let you all go. H. Garza 1136 says, I'm with you. Around 6,000 years old. We're talking about the planet Earth, the age of the Earth. But there are no aliens. They are demons. The Dr. Delicious replied to that saying fake news. I think the Dr. Delicious has a different point of view, which is great. That's welcome here. And tell us more. Tell us more. Joe Brezel said, crazy Glenn Danzig wrote on a Radio Shack keyboard, I think maybe Casio, when he first started the Misfits. I did not know that. That's awesome. That's a good tidbit there. I like the Misfits. And I like Danzig. The Chaz, you're about to get your second shout out, because thank you for the comment. Holy shout out, Batman, in parentheses, Cashman. Much love, brother. Great show as always. Appreciate that. Kalu Kimbo 9994 says narrative studies sounds like a good class. And they agree with me on my take on JD Vance. Yeah, it was a fun class. As bad as the institution of college was around me, and seeing how bad like the administration was treating everybody, I loved being in a room and talking ideas with people who wanted to write. And, you know, some of them was freshmen. They were young right out of high school. And it was, for me, a real eye-opening experience learning just how bad public schools were. Like I had an idea, but some of these kids would show up and they'd be like, what does freezing temperature mean? I'd be like, like 32. They're like, we thought it was 50. Like, nah, B. So like the classes were very interesting. But then I had seniors doing senior theses and writing really awesome excerpts for novels they were working on. And I'd seen a lot of those students grow up to become writers who publish books. And that's so cool. That is so freaking cool to me. Spacefly said, talking about Edgar Case on his birthday is a crazy coincidence. That was a crazy coincidence. And thank you to Lord Awesome Sauce for that phone call. Spacefly said, a sign of things to come, perhaps. I had Hammer Time here, 717, saying, we felt the boom an hour west of Cleveland. That's crazy. And then this is the one I saw that was really wild to me. American White Guy, great YouTube name. He says, I'm a war vet, and I about SHIT, trying not to curse these days, trying. I about SHIT my pants, had literally walked outside 10 seconds before the boom. So people were hearing something. Someone suggested maybe it was a jet that broke the sound barrier. Whatever it is, there's more of it happening. I don't know if the sounds are happening more and people aren't reporting these booms that they're hearing, but there's a lot more footage of these alleged meteors happening. There was a weird green one in Australia yesterday. It was Sean Bryan. Thank you for the comment. He said, did a jet break the sound barrier? I lived like an hour southwest of Barksdale Air Force Base, and the jets would break it over our area because it was not heavily populated. It would freak you out. Just like you said, clear sunny day, then boom. Yeah, that is bizarre. Very, very, very bizarre. But thank you guys so much for all these comments. Christopher first said the internet is a psyop. Yeah, the internet was created by DARPA to destroy us. They let some of us say some things until they decide it's enough, and then just you're off the internet forever. We've seen them. They'll do it to anybody. They'll do it to the small voices. They'll do it to the big voices. At some point, you're done. But thank you guys so much. I hope you have a great weekend. Again, like I believe it was Mark with the idea that we read earlier this week. If you have ideas, topics, things you want me to look into, hit me up with those. Either DM me, Instagram or Twitter, or leave a comment. We all try to keep up on those, and I'll look into those things. Supposed to have a guest today. We rescheduled last minute. So next Thursday, we will have Jeremy Ryan Slate. And the week after, I will have the other guest and try doing that on Thursdays. But the people who do want to call in, what I am doing now has been Monday through Thursday, unless I have a guest on Thursday. I record around 11 in the morning, Eastern time. I try to get everyone in. I don't always get to everybody. I like to let people talk, have a lot of questions, and see how it goes. But if you have a story you want to share or thoughts on something we've been talking about, something in the news, please do try to call in. The link is typically in the description below. Also on my social media accounts, I post that about an hour or two before I start recording on Instagram in my stories and on Twitter. So it's a Zoom link. It's the same link every time. And hit me up. Tell me some stories. It's been really awesome having phone calls again. I missed it quite a bit. And have a great weekend. Stay safe. I'll see you guys on Monday.